Call to order. This is the Rice Creek Watershed Board of Managers regular meeting. It's Wednesday, October 11th, 2023. It's 9 a.m. and we are in our usual meeting place of the Shoreview City Hall Council. The record reflect that all of the managers are present. And Nick, do you have some changes to the agenda?
Yes, Manager Bradley, Board of Managers staff would suggest that we have a new action item number 3, which will be RCWD or Rice Creek's Minnesota Watersheds Resolution Revision.
Very good. And we're also going to amend the approval of minutes to include an amendment to the September 13th, 2023 minutes. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. With those changes, can I have a motion to accept the agenda or
So
the
moved.
other changes? Okay. Second, anyone? Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Same. Okay.
So next on the agenda would be the approval of minutes.
Minutes.
You made note to the
Yeah.
September 13th minutes.
So, not to make too big a deal of this at all, but it called to our attention that one of our minutes from the September 13, 2003 had some unfortunate language in it that we would like to have removed. I don't want to repeat that language here. So I'd like to move to revise the minutes approval of the entire sentence beginning on line 149 from those September 13, 2023 minutes.
I would second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Thank you. That takes us then to approval of the September 27th, 2023 regular meeting minutes. Can I have a motion?
I would, Mr. President, I would move to approve the September 27th regular meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Nick, where are we?
Now we have open mic.
Well, unless Molly's going to speak, there's nobody here and I don't see anybody online.
No one online.
No one, so we had a successful open mic session. And so that takes us to
Items requiring board action. Number 1 is the 2024 Water Quality Grant Program release approval. And that is the item Molly is here for. Found on page 13.
this note, Patrick, this is the first time I think in the 9 years I've been doing this, I haven't had you asking for approval of something.
It's rather atypical that we have a meeting that doesn't have a permit on it.
Yeah,
We'll have
okay.
a few on
Yeah,
the
no
next one,
kidding.
yes.
I kept going, there's a hole here. Okay. Molly, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. President, Board of Managers. For your consideration today, we have the 2024 Water Quality Grant Program release. There were 3 minor changes to the program technical services agreements. Typical protocol, the dates were changed to reflect 2024. As staff budgeted earlier in the year, the hourly rate schedules have been changed and reflected those budget increase numbers. And then finally, language in Exhibit A, Section 2 for all 3 technical services agreements has been changed, reflected on last year's requests from Manager Bradley during the 2023 program review. I can outline the changes that were made to that section. The original language in Section 2 of Exhibit A stated procedures will be developed in coordination with other watershed and SWCD programs. Overall program coordination, summary reports, and ongoing program evaluation will be provided.
Manager Bradley, I'm sorry to interrupt. Molly, could you please express a page number that we might look at the text? I see
sure.
some of our managers.
Sure. I don't have the packet with
Page
me.
29, page
Yeah.
4 of the Exhibit A.
Thank you. So page 29, which is Exhibit A, and then which section? Pardon me.
Section 2, it will be the
Thank
last
you.
2 sentences. In your
Thank you.
packets, I have the updated language that staff has refined from the past two sentences from the last exhibit. The new language states program materials will be provided by the RCWD and will include application forms, evaluation criteria, information packets, monitoring forms, annual reports, and other items needed to ensure effective and efficient grant programs. Overall program coordination, summary reports, and ongoing program evaluation will be provided as needed to the corresponding SWCD. I changed this language to reflect all of the items that we provide to the environmental specialists that we work with under these contracts. So these program materials are typically provided at the beginning of the year, and it helps guide them in their site visits that they conduct, as well as the design work that goes on kind of in the background. I also changed the second sentence to reflect just some additional items that are provided by staff. Those typically fall under the either biannual or quarterly check-ins that I conduct with each of the SWCDs. And it's typically as needed. So today I have two proposed motions requested for the 2024 Water Quality Grant Program release.
Aye. You opposed? Passes 4-0. Thank you.
5-0.
5-0. Sorry, 5-0.
5-0, yeah.
Yes. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Molly. I'll just restate that we had a motion and second to authorize the district administrator to sign the proposed 2024 technical service agreement with the ACD, which is Anoka, Ramsey, SWCD, and Washington County CD in amounts not to exceed $15,000, $26,000, and $15,000 respectively, to provide technical assistance to the Rice Creek Watershed District programs with any further non-material changes and advice of council. And that motion passed 5-0. Thanks to our technician for helping us. Nick, what's next?
Yes, next is action item number 2, which is Houston Engineering Task Order 2023-12. That's Judicial Ditch 3 Construction Management. This item is found on page 44 of your packet. This is for your work on JD3, Anoka, Washington Judicial Ditch 3. This project is underway with JCON LLC. the repair work. Houston Engineering provides construction management oversight there, including staking of the limits of the work and construction observation and the contract that we have in coordination with staff. This task order is before you for consideration. We have a proposed motion on page 44. The task order amount is $80,500.
Mr. President, I'll move the authorize the board president to execute the HEI task order 2023-012 for judicial ditch 3 construction management for the amount of $80,500. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion or questions? We have Chris Allen is here if you have questions.
Mr. Chair, this is a procedural question. So this is a new task order, and will that be then reflected on the document that we have at the back of our packet? Could you just clarify for me exactly how this gets reflected back here? Maybe
sure. Yeah, Mr. President, Manager Wynant, yes. Every task order that we execute with you does get reflected in that monthly table that we put in there. I think we probably have an item in there, if I recall correctly, for JD3 that was in there. That was the prior task order that went up until the point of construction starting, essentially. And you can see on there that we actually came in well under the contract amount on that one. So now we'll be replacing that line item on there with this new one for the new task order for construction management.
Okay, so that there might be 2 or 3 task orders under each of these project names.
Yeah, there can be at different times, and we won't be showing the prior one now because that one is closed out. So as soon as we close out a task order, we take it off the table and we put the, any new ones that come forth on there. So these are the ones that are on the table are all the current active task orders that we're working on.
So Mr. Chair, as from our discussion on Monday, basically this is our planning document as we move through the year.
It's our implementation.
Correct. Implementation document based on a planning document that we had put forward.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how we can track not only the completions of the project, but on the back page gives even more detail about 60% complete, 80% complete. Okay, thank you.
But so you don't overplay that.
Mm-hmm.
This is the district engineer's monthly project report. So this reflects only the involvement of the district engineer as the firm, HEI.
Correct.
And what they have done with regard to task orders that we have approved,
mm-hmm.
and where those stand in terms of comparing expenditures and effort versus budget.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, go ahead, Nick.
Manager Bradley, if I could take it a little bit further, you make a good point, because there could be at any time a legal question that comes up about what is found on site or some complication. And so we've budgeted very likely in excess of the task order that the engineer puts forth, because we know there's other matters to be addressed. So you make a very, very good point.
And of course, the internal review is done by our district management team.
Yes.
Those would not be reported or reflected on that chart.
Correct. Correct.
So there's additional work happening besides this.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Any further questions or comments? Apparently not. What's up next, Nick?
Call the question.
Call
Call the question.
Oh, so I had a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye. Thank you.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. 5-0. Thank you.
Yes. Manager Bradley, Board of Managers. Next on the agenda is the newly added action item number 3. This is Rice Creek Watershed District's Minnesota Watersheds Resolution revision potential. This was passed out to you this morning. As you may know, all resolutions proposed to MOD by its membership are reviewed by the MOD Resolution Committee. They met yesterday. I am a member of that committee. The committee discussed all the resolutions, but specific to Rice Creek, the comment of the how of our documents may be a bit too specific as we set forth a narrow set of actions. And so we may risk the whole issue being taken up by, for example, the drainage work group or otherwise, and that may not be beneficial for MAUD's approach. So we want to give as much supportive language as possible in documents to MAUD, but also include some flexibility in their work. So I shared back that I would come and chat with the board because that is an approved document that you guys put forth. And the handout includes the proposed red line removals from the document. Basically, it cuts this specific task of the drainage work group to deliberate on it. And then in the therefore, on the very last page, the therefore it be resolved also cuts the drainage work group and the lobbying efforts. So our materials that we submitted, which included potential bill language and such, MAUD can move forth and use it as they see best.
So if I understand this correctly, basically what they've suggested is don't put into our proposal taking this other groups, let that occur naturally or not.
Yeah, or not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, yes.
Which is kind of where I was myself.
Yep.
So I think they're brilliant.
Well, I will acknowledge.
I'll second your brilliance and make a motion that we accept these changes.
And I will second that.
All right, and I will share them with MAUD. But it gets
Very good.
Have a vote first.
We'll have a vote first. Any discussion first? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Passes 5-0.
Thank you. Manager Bradley, Board of Managers, next on the agenda is the check register.
Yes. Mr. Chair, I move that we approve and authorize the payment of the check register dated October 11th, 2023 in the amount of $98,071.37 prepared by Redpath and Company.
There's a second. Second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes 5-0.
That moves us, board, to the items for discussion and information. The first item is the district engineer update and timeline.
Any questions of Chris? Comments by Chris?
No, Mr. Chair, Board of Managers, got excuse me, a couple different things to mention. One is that JD3, as we know, we had a task order earlier. That project has started now. It started last week, and they've made good progress already, working on tree clearing out there. And they do anticipate starting to actually clean the ditch out, excavation beginning next week. So they're moving forward quickly on it, and so far it's going pretty well. The other item that I'll mention is that tomorrow, Ashley Ritchie and I will be doing a presentation in front of the drainage work group. We were asked by the drainage work group to present on Rice Creek's experience with runoff-based charges for managing public drainage systems and for developing funding for those. And so we're going to be doing that presentation comparing that Rice Creek's method and experience we've had with the traditional process of viewing and determining benefits and utilizing that to pay for drainage system repairs. Should be some interesting discussion, and I guess we'll see how that goes there tomorrow.
Manager Bradley, Board of Managers, I'll just note that's our water management districts that utilize that approach. Next is the administrator updates, if I could. Making note that the Metro Minnesota Watersheds mod meeting is Tuesday, the 17th. That's in person at Capital Region. Chris mentioned JD3, that's working well. I'll make note that JD5, which is a tile line that the bulkhead has been made and installed on site. A bulkhead provides a definitive outlet. You might picture it as a I dare not say mattress, but a wafer of cement that makes a definitive elevation and holds the end of the tile line in place.
Outstanding.
Yeah, and that work on the system is about 95% complete. We got a little bit more in the headwaters, but otherwise that's coming to a close.
Could you tell us where that is located?
JD5 is up in Forest Lake.
Through the wetland?
So-
Is that the?
So JD5 goes straight north and then makes a hard left turn to go west. And when you hit that hard left turn, that's where the number 5 comes in. And you know where the Buffalo Farm is up there, Salverdes in Forest Lake off of County Road 50 or 202 Street. Anyways, that's the beginning of the JD5, and it goes all the way down to that'd be about that's a little 185th, I guess, if there was a street there, but there isn't, so that's where it is. If you look on the map, the bulkhead was missing. I understand they found parts of it, but and it's been replaced, and that's a very important marker because those concrete markers, whether they're culverts or bulkheads, provide us with the information to be able to determine what the proper profile is for these drainage systems.
Okay, thank you.
Chris.
Mr. President, just to add to that, I don't know if you remember those photos that we had of the tile system where the tile had lifted up and was above ground, and you could see all the sections of tile. That was JD5.
Hey,
Bulkheads won't float?
no,
No.
they're more than a wafer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can't envision a wafer of concrete floating
Yeah.
anywhere.
Not very far.
Right.
Cool. One other item, at Monday's meeting, we rolled out the Minnesota Watersheds Annual Conference, the MOD Conference, up at Arrowwood. And I'd ask you to communicate with Teresa then if you decided to participate in that or not, so that we can make the reservations as well as the accommodations that are necessary. And I will pause there and actually ask Teresa. Teresa, I think last year the managers maybe expensed their lodging, but we want to make, is there a better way for us to do it?
Last year.
We did it.
We did.
Okay, and that's our preferred method.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get them all
Okay.
aligned. So very good.
That's the way we always did it. I've always done it that way
Yeah.
with Teresa. So
Very good.
depend on you to show up so I have a room.
There you go. I'll be there. So that's all the updates that I have.
That takes us to the manager's updates. I'm Waller.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the first Tuesday of this month, I attended the Legislative Subcommittee on Water. So while we were having lunch a little while ago on the Clean Water Tour, the administrator, Jim Stark, who I've known for a number of years, came over and said, we're having these in person, and he's got his committee members, and he says, it's the first Tuesday of October. I don't know what room. So after stumbling around for 20 minutes in the Capitol area, I found that it was in Capitol Room 120. I had no idea what the agenda would be, but it is of significance here in Rice Creek because one of the items on there was a Metro Water Supply Outlook Concerns and Plans Metropolitan Council, Ms. Judy Stenvik. And included in her presentation was a subdivision about Rice, White Bear Lake. But The issues that took up most of the committee's time were the karst watershed issues about nitrates in the karst region. And of course, to me, I think of the karst region as southeast Minnesota. But as I sat there in the committee room and read the map, I realized that the portion of Rice Creek and Ramsey and Washington County and a little bit of Anoka is now in the karst regional area. They define these regions in 3 separate areas, one with 50 feet of soil over the top. That's what we see down in Wabasha, Winona, that area. Our area is the 50 to 100 feet, we're the medium. And then the very heavy ones are the more than 100 feet areas. And so these issues are important. And I don't know what the Metro Council report will be. I have a copy of their outlay presentation, you know, but they're going to be on the next meeting, which will be the first Tuesday in November, and I assume in the same room, although I'm not certain what the time will be. They have varied the time a little bit. It's important for us because Senator Weber's the chairman from the Senate side, and from the House side is the new representative from Woodbury, Representative Hemmingson Yeager, and she's the co-chair. There's some old names on here that were recognized from the past and that we're familiar with. For example, Representative Fisher's there. Important with him. We visited with him extensively a few years ago about funding for the Ramsey County 235 project. Second, I will attend the DOT meeting on next Tuesday afternoon at Roseville about the climate change. I'm interested to hear what they're talking about with their stormwater conveyance system, because that's a big deal. I'll be there for that. And finally, then when I arrived in my mail, I'm certain some of you, we had this article, as Teresa told me, already distributed, but we also got the same article because it's the same newspaper company in the Hugo paper about Centerville Lake and the new taxing district. Very positive article on their point of view. And that, Mr. President, is all I have to share.
Why
Just to follow up on some of the things that Manager Waller said, as you know, the Clean Water Council did a tour focusing on the metro area, and this upcoming meeting of the metro watersheds has regular updates from folks, including the Met Council. So it might be of interest, John, to ask some questions of Judy. Well, she's there if you have some. So it ends up being if you're there.
If she shows up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
very.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of chatter around the metro watershed issues. Glad you went to the meeting at the Capitol. So thank you for that update. I guess so there's another Clean Water Council meeting then on Monday. How quickly our months go by. And I'll be attending that, and I'll give you an update next time around.
Thank you.
Me?
Yeah.
Just
No,
go ahead.
I'm good.
Okay, I just have one thing, and I'm not, Mr. President, I'm not sure actually the procedure even on this, but I would like to recommend that we put on our next workshop, if we could just put down 10 minutes. I had a situation arise, and I would like to just discuss it with the board and with the administrator. It was a communication issue. And so if we could just put down 10 minutes time to, of course, cover it at the workshop, would do it.
Yeah.
I think there's a simple solution, and
okay, it's done.
Thank
It
you.
will be done.
It shall
Thank
be
you.
done.
It shall be done.
There you go.
Shall be done.
Very fancy.
That's it for me.
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. I guess I don't either. So this may be a record.
May I?
That's because Patrick didn't bring us anything to do.
Yeah.
May I move to adjourn the meeting, Mr. President?
Is there a second for that?
Second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This is 5-0.
I don't think I ever remember a meeting without one permit.
No, I don't either.
It's been a while.
So
Patrick made it possible.
Makes one worry for the economy.